A man and an alien, united by chaos, race against time to save Earth from a devastating intergalactic invasion. Get ready for a journey filled with tension, twists, and surprising revelations. Let's go. The opening of the film transports us to a scene where a man stands, contemplating the vastness of the city. With a click on his remote control, he loudly declares, "Begin." The scene quickly shifts to David, who, with a touch of humor, serves beans to himself and his unusual extraterrestrial companion Cameron. David makes a joke, comparing the beans to a juicy steak, suggesting they should enjoy them as such. They exchange small talk, lamenting the monotony of TV programming and the lack of captivating news, when they notice a steady stream of people heading south. David explains to Cameron that many believe that direction to be the safest, or at least where the attacks are less frequent. He reveals that the proximity of danger can be sensed by the increasing volume of distant screams. In a nostalgic sequence, David recalls a conversation he had in an elevator, discussing a devastating attack that originated in London. But what began as an isolated attack quickly escalated into an alarming outbreak. In the elevator, another passenger, seemingly ordinary until then, suddenly changes, his voice becoming metallic, and in a violent outburst, throws a man through the window, leaving him lifeless on the ground. Horrified, David and a companion barely manage to close the elevator doors in time, escaping the inexplicable fury of the transformed man. Wasting no time, David contacts his girlfriend Sarah, who tells him that the outbreak has already reached Washington and New York, spreading chaos wherever it goes. She informs him, through a trembling phone call, that she is on the rooftop of her office, observing a new outbreak just 2 blocks away. Worried, David insists that she stay there and wait for his arrival. However, he realizes that the connection is unstable and unreliable. At that moment, he is approached by a threatening man, similar to the attacker in the elevator, who demands that he leave the area. With resilience, David holds his ground and, after a tense struggle, manages to break free, narrowly escaping an explosive attack caused by the superpowered man. Meanwhile, Cameron, who had stayed at home, decides to investigate the anomaly unfolding before his alien eyes. He steps out to get a clearer view of the situation, and as he surveys the city, notices a plane approaching with clear hostility. In a moment of intense tension, Cameron, with wide eyes, fixates on the plane, which within seconds crashes into a nearby building, resulting in a monumental explosion. Despite the chaotic circumstances, by some miracle, he remains unharmed, and with unwavering resolve, continues his mission to find Sarah. Meanwhile, Ellen's situation grows increasingly desperate. She drives hastily through the city, navigating traffic while making incessant attempts to contact her son, Cameron, who is unreachable. At a critical point, Ellen reunites with Cameron and with an urgent gesture points to the sky covered in smoke and debris, insisting that he stay focused and vigilant as they take shelter. Amidst the turmoil, the reality of an alien invasion becomes evident. Beings from another world, disguised as humans, unleash devastating attacks with explosive abilities originating from the palms of their hands. Curiously, some humans have been chosen by the aliens to share these powers, acting as agents under extraterrestrial control. David, amidst this chaos, shares his desperate plan to locate Sarah and Cameron's mother, but an inadvertent revelation of their position forces the group into a frantic escape. During their flight, they encounter an alien agent from the infiltration unit IO. In a moment of tension, Cameron gets injured, and his blood stains a nearby surface. The discovery of this blood stain sends Cameron into a state of acute panic, fearing that the aliens might use his blood to track him. David, trying to calm the young man, dismisses the idea as highly unlikely. However, the IO agent, alerted by their presence, launches an attack in their direction. After an electrifying confrontation, they manage to escape, finding temporary refuge for the night. Curiosity and the need for answers, however, consume David, who presses for explanations. Cameron, after a hesitant pause, confesses the truth. He is an alien himself. He reveals that his race is engaged in an intergalactic conflict against another alien faction, and that he and his mother, Ellen, have been refugees on Earth for 7 years, hiding from the opposing forces. Cameron reveals that his ability to concentrate his mind allows him to distort alien signals, a skill that has prevented them from detecting him so far. This ability has been his safeguard, keeping him and David off the radar of the aliens who are scouring Earth in search of him. However, the tranquility is fleeting. The relentless IO agent, tireless in its pursuit, reappears on the horizon. One of the aliens, following Cameron's trail, is dangerously close to discovering them, even preparing for confrontation by drawing a sword. Cameron manages to camouflage his presence and David's, creating a window for a timely escape before the alien can locate them. After an exhausting run, they reach a bridge, where David, faced with the evidence of Cameron's extraordinary abilities, accepts the truth of the previous revelations. At this moment, the reality of the 3 hidden spacecrafts becomes clear in the sky. David accepts his fate alongside his alien friend, sealing their alliance with a firm handshake as they continue on foot. Cameron then shares with David the catastrophic consequences for the planet if the aliens fail to find him, the total destruction of Earth in their relentless search. Faced with this revelation, Cameron considers surrendering to save the world, but David firmly rejects the idea. Meanwhile, alien leadership is under pressure. Garabon, the leader of the alien horde, faces growing pressure from his superior Devanera to capture Cameron. But Garabon is curiously distracted by earthly fascinations, like the taste of coffee and the elegance of a Maserati. In parallel, Ellen and a fellow traveler seek a brief respite from the relentless pursuit. While they rest, the calm is interrupted when an alien detects Ellen and immediately reports her location to the mothership. In a swift response, Ellen is forced to defend herself, revealing her identity through the blood spilled in the fight, but she manages to neutralize the attacker with a concealed weapon. Inside one of the ships, a detailed exposition is presented, describing how the aliens use advanced implants to integrate into human identities, thus forming the IO infiltration agents. Determined to locate Cameron without revealing his intentions, Garabon employs a cunning tactic on Earth. He plans to manipulate Ellen, using a subtle approach to deceive her into revealing Cameron's hideout, even though he believes she would never do so voluntarily. In a moment of nostalgia, the scene transitions to a flashback where David and his girlfriend Sarah are together. They have fun while David films her, praising her beauty and sharing a moment of intimacy and laughter. David calls out to her, while the grass around him seems to catch fire. Back in the present, David quickly warns him about the risk of attracting the attention of the IO agents, but it's too late. The bombing begins, forcing them into a desperate escape towards the plane while evading the relentless pursuers. In the chaos, Cameron notices a girl in imminent danger of being captured. With a swift action, he saves her, and together they escape the IO's line of sight, who retreat in frustration. Back at the hideout, the girl questions Cameron about his ability to keep them hidden, but before he can answer, David insists that Cameron be transparent and share everything with her, his thoughts intertwining with the flashback memories where he fought to protect Sarah. Garabon mobilizes a group of human survivors led by Richard, a human controller. Richard successfully tracks down and gains Ellen's trust, arranging a discreet meeting at the edge of the forest. Ellen, cautious, signals for Richard to keep a low profile as her group merges with Richard's, which includes Garabon himself. Walking together, David, Cameron, and the recently rescued girl ponder the possibility of giving up, but Cameron, with renewed determination, decides to continue. At the same time, it is revealed that Garabon's adversary team is watching them. Ellen, under pressure, confesses to having a prearranged meeting point with Cameron in case of an emergency, but hesitates to fully trust Garabon to reveal this critical location. At night, as a storm approaches, David and Cameron contemplate the ominous sky. David, who once enjoyed storms, now sees them as a harbinger of danger. Cameron, on the other hand, shows hesitation in moving forward. Taking advantage of Garabon's vulnerability on Earth, one of the rival aliens coerces human controllers to attack him. Although Garabon easily defeats these adversaries, the suspicion that Devanera is behind this attack heightens his paranoia and alertness. Agitated by the uncertainty of Cameron's whereabouts, Garabon reports the situation to the mothership and communicates directly with Devanera. After the surprise attack, he emphasizes the need to protect his son, highlighting the urgency of his mission. Ellen, influenced by Garabon's apparent concern, gradually places her trust in him, guiding him to the previously arranged meeting point with Cameron. As the IOS intensify their search, the pursuit of Cameron and his friends becomes more fierce and relentless. David defends Cameron relentlessly, and at the peak of their escape, Cameron's camouflage ability is activated, allowing them to evade the IOS's sight. When the pressure becomes unbearable and Garabon fails to locate Cameron, he is forced to reveal his true identity to Ellen. Devanera orders Garabon to return to his ship and await further instructions for a possible attack on Earth. Ellen is captured by Garabon, who escorts her to the ship. Meanwhile, Cameron and David reach the designated meeting point, only to be greeted by the intimidating sight of a large alien ship hovering in the sky. The takeoff of another ship fuels Cameron's suspicion that his mother might be on board. As the ships become more prominent, it becomes clear that an attack on Earth is imminent. Determined to prevent the catastrophe, Cameron decides to surrender to Devanera, using the ship that brought him to Earth. They take off, with David experiencing his first flight. Unknown to Cameron, one of the human controllers who had been tracking him for some time managed to infiltrate the ship. The controller prepares an explosive orb, triggering a confrontation with David. Although David is initially overpowered, Cameron, in an act of heroism, absorbs the energy of the explosion, saving them both and allowing David to neutralize the human controller. However, the distraction prevents them from reaching the alien ship in time. After several turbulent and skillful attempts by David, they manage to land the ship safely. Meanwhile, on the alien ship, chaos erupts. As Cameron absorbs the explosive energy, the alien lords find themselves in trouble. Ellen, observing the situation, realizes that Cameron has the ability to absorb pure energy. She then urges Garabon to find a way to stop the cannons aimed at Earth. In the meantime, David experiences adverse side effects after coming into contact with the mysterious blue light that, as Cameron reveals, resides within him and is causing harm. Guilt weighs on Cameron, who feels responsible for David's condition. However, with words of encouragement, David assures Cameron that he should not blame himself. In a final gesture, he pleads with Cameron to save Sarah before succumbing to the effects of the blue light, leaving Cameron in deep sorrow, but also determined to fulfill his friend's last wish. Recomposed by the loss of David, Cameron channels his energy and pain into an act of resistance, facing the challenges ahead. Meanwhile, Garabon, recognizing the gravity of the situation, decides to return to Earth with Ellen, hoping that his presence might stop Devanera's attack. Before Garabon can implement his plan, Cameron intervenes. Using the powerful pure energy within him, he launches a direct attack on the alien ship, causing a critical failure in the ship's core and halting the imminent attack on Earth. In the aftermath, to Cameron's surprise, David reappears, inexplicably unharmed, explaining that the blue light that lifted him during the ship's operation also healed him. Inspired by David's recovery, Cameron is encouraged to continue the search for the girl they had tried to save earlier. Upon finding the alien ship landed on Earth, Cameron finally reunites with the girl. They share a moment of relief and affection, culminating in a passionate kiss. Meanwhile, Garabon, following Cameron's trail, is confronted by Ellen, who persuades him to follow a new path in the name of peace between species. Moved by a new understanding and Ellen's influence, Garabon agrees. Cameron's energy, vital to the ship, facilitates the return to his home planet. Emotional farewells mark Cameron's departure, with wishes for a safe return. Meanwhile, on Earth, David and Sarah reunite. United after the storm of events, they seal their reunion with a passionate kiss, bringing closure to their journey of dangers and discoveries. Thus concludes the saga, with the promise of new beginnings and the hope of future reconciliations.